First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
It wasn't long ago that Blake Lively was everyone's darling. From her breathtaking red carpet appearances to her quirky social media exchanges with husband Ryan Reynolds, it seemed like she could do no wrong. But in Hollywood, even the brightest stars can fall, and fast. So why has the internet suddenly turned against Blake? Stay tuned as we unravel the shocking series of events that led to Blake Lively facing the wrath of her once adoring fans. The perfect image begins to crack. Blake Lively has long enjoyed an almost picture-perfect reputation. With her wholesome image, career-defining roles, and enviable marriage to Ryan Reynolds, she seemed untouchable. Fans adored her for being relatable yet glamorous, down-to-earth yet impossibly stylish. Who wouldn't want to be Blake? She had the dream life, or so it seemed. But here's the thing about fame. It's a double-edged sword. The higher you climb, the further you can fall, and lately, it appears that Blake's once polished image has started to show cracks. It's no longer just about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. The very fans who used to cheer her on are now questioning her motives, criticizing her decisions, and digging up old controversies. So what caused this shift in public opinion? It wasn't just one thing. It was a series of events that, when pieced together, paint a very different picture of the actress we thought we knew. Her fans' loyalty was tested, and the first sign of trouble came during the promotional tour for It Ends With Us. But what really happened behind the scenes? Was Blake to blame? Or was there something more to the story? Buckle up. This is where the drama really begins. The feud with Justin Baldoni, social media unfollows, and on-set tensions. The first major red flag that set the internet ablaze was Blake's apparent feud with her It Ends With Us co-star and director Justin Baldoni. If you're a fan of celebrity gossip, you'll know that when a big-name star unfollows someone on Instagram, it's usually a sign that something isn't right. And when Blake Lively unfollowed Justin, and the film's author Colleen Hoover, fans were quick to notice. But was this a common social media skirmish, or was something much deeper at play beneath the surface? And to understand where things went wrong, we have to go back in time. It Ends With Us was one of the most highly anticipated releases. This book's movie adaptation was hyped quite literally due to its brutal visualization of domestic violence, which is a very emotional and heavy topic. With a star-studded cast and a director like Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, respectively, fans had high hopes. And well, that's just where things started going wrong. According to sources, things just needed to be right between the two from the beginning. Where Justin Baldoni was completely intent on capturing the story's heavy and tender moments, it has been reported that Blake took a very different approach. Justin was very vocal about social justice and domestic violence awareness, making sure to drive the point home how crucial it was to approach the topic delicately and honestly. His interviews really captured that, with his constant veering back onto the serious nature of the themes in the film. But Blake? Her promotional tour couldn't be more different. Instead of deeply delving into the heavy subject matter that should have been discussed regarding the film, she veered sideways. In every interview with Blake, constant mentions of her side businesses, her hair care line, her drink brand, and literally everything further away from the dark theme of the film greeted one. Or was this a disconnect in priorities, or something else entirely? It didn't take long for fans to jump at the chance to chastise him, feeling that Blake's focus on personal projects showed a general disregard for the gravity of the movie. The rift was starting to become apparent, but it was more than just promotional interviews that told the story. There were on-set accounts, whispers that Blake and Justin's creative visions clashed, causing moments of tension during production. And then, the unfollowing began. In the age of social media, an unfollow is just about a declaration of war, especially if you're a celebrity. When Blake hit that unfollow button on both Justin and Colleen Hoover's Instagram accounts, the internet sure as heck noticed. A feud formerly of the speculative gossip variety whispers of tension behind the scenes had all but erupted into a full-blown public feud. But it did not stop there. Blake brought her husband, Ryan Reynolds, into the mix. She said he had written one of the pivotal scenes in the film, shifting the focus further away from the serious themes of the movie to that of her personal life once more. Was this a PR tactic gone wrong? Or was Blake more interested in her brand than in the film? And then, when fans and people of the industry started putting those events together, the narrative on her quickly soured. A celebration of such a powerful and pivotal film devolved into a sideshow about on-set drama, overshadowing the story that It Ends With Us was trying to tell. Blake's actions started to appear self-serving. People accused her of being out of touch, joining this film for the platform it would give her toward her own personal gain. But here's where things get a little more complicated. Was Blake truly the villain here, or was there more to this story than meets the eye? Was she misunderstood and rumors blown out of proportion? And just when you thought the story was over, another shocking twist was about to unfold, dragging Blake even deeper into controversy. Personal branding versus professionalism, the Ryan Reynolds controversy. If the feud with Justin Baldoni wasn't enough to stir the pot, Blake's decision to heavily involve Ryan Reynolds in the It Ends With Us promotional tour poured even more fuel on the fire. Sure, we all love the playful banter between Hollywood's golden couple, but this time things didn't go quite as planned. Blake, for whatever reason, chose to spill the beans that Ryan was the one who wrote one of the most pivotal scenes in the movie. If it sounds innocuous, it actually wasn't, at least for that army of fans this movie has. Why was her husband, with nothing to do with the movie, suddenly credited for writing one of the most critical parts of the movie? Was this a manner of attempting to deflect attention away from the film's heavy, sensitive themes toward more inconsequential trivia? That led critics to jump on the notion rather quickly that Blake was using her husband's fame as a way to deflect the real issues the movie was trying to address. To some, it was just a goofy, behind-the-scenes, quirky story. But to others, it was an effort in place to make sure her brand came first over the seriousness of the project. Then came the interviews. During one of those, when being asked about the heavy topic of the film, Blake mentioned that audiences should come to the cinema in florals and enjoy the movie with their friends. Huh? Floral dresses? For a movie about domestic violence? The internet did not buy it. But was Blake that tone-deaf? Or was this all being blown out of proportion by a hypercritical internet? The waters were murky and things were only about to get worse for Blake Lively. Just when you thought Blake's issues couldn't get worse, the internet opens another chapter of accusations of white feminism. For years, Blake has aligned herself with various women's rights campaigns, often painted as a champion of female empowerment. On the surface, a noble cause, but in today's social climate, though, the fans are paying much closer attention to how these issues are handled. And when it comes down to Blake, many feel she's missed the mark. The problem is that her brand of feminism has been called tone-deaf and exclusionary, addressing issues that primarily affect white, privileged women while completely sidestepping the systemic ills faced by already marginalized communities. It was a point driven home when Blake made comments during interviews promoting the novel. It focuses on domestic abuse, but failed to acknowledge the broader context of how abuse disproportionately impacts women of color. And then, of course, there was that infamous Preserve blog incident. For anyone who may have forgotten, Blake once ran a lifestyle blog that, for a brief period of time, romanticized the antebellum South. Yes, you heard me right. The darkest moment in American history, where slavery wasn't an uncommon practice, was once framed as this ideal romantic time complete with plantation aesthetics, no less. A lot of people forgot, but the internet never does. This incident was dug up when Blake's controversies started to mount, wherein many criticized her for silently belittling painful and traumatic history as far as racism is concerned in America. Was Blake's feminism merely a branding exercise? Was she blind to the dark realities of intersectionality? Because what happened was that the more her reputation crumbled, the more those questions were literally on everyone's minds. And once the white feminism label is tagged onto a celebrity, that image of a negative stereotype is hard to erase. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. The more one dug into her past, the more skeletons they found in her closet. First, there was the Met Gala, the night of nights fashion-wise. Blake Lively Long had been a red carpet darling, usually named as one of the few best-dressed stars of the night. But over the past year or so, her fashion choices started to attract more criticism, rather than acclaim from those who find her looks increasingly problematic rather than polished. Most memorable example? That would have to be her appearance at the 2018 Met Gala, paying homage to the Catholic Church. Blake arrived in a sumptuous gown, including borrowed elements from religious iconography. While many were swept away by the beauty and color of the outfit, others found it to be yet another act of cultural insensitivity. Blake's outfit joined a bigger conversation about celebrities using religious symbols as fashion statements. Some even felt her dress belittled deeply held beliefs. Not the only controversy surrounding her Met Gala appearances. In 2022, Blake chose to pay her respects to New York's Gilded Age in a gown that morphed into a Statue of Liberty-inspired look. Again, though many fans praised the creativity involved, others were more than happy to highlight the problematic celebration of an era so deeply embedded in extreme class divides and exploitation. Blake's seemingly tone-deaf approach to these fashion choices furthered the narrative that she was out of touch with the cultural conversations swirling around her. Was she merely oblivious to the implications of her outfits, or did she literally not care? In either case, the public was longer letting her off the hook with her Met Gala looks. Rather, they were starting to see a pattern of ignorance that no longer could be ignored. That was when the internet really started to turn on her. The hypocrisy of eco-friendly branding. Blake Lively has long taken pride in her status as an environmentally sensitive celebrity, often speaking out on the importance of sustainable fashion and conservation projects. Of course, several critics hasten to point out there is quite a large chasm between the symbolism and the actuality. Blake's love of all-out, over-the-top fashion doesn't exactly scream eco-friendly. Every red carpet she walks includes custom-made outfits, often from designers who aren't known for their sustainability practices. People were quick to note that if Blake really cared about the environment, she would wear recycled or second-hand outfits instead of repeatedly wearing new couture gowns. But then, of course, there is her luxurious lifestyle. Blake and Ryan's reliance on private jets to get around the country made environmentalists' blood pressures soar. How could a person claim to be committed to shrinking their carbon footprint if they took private planes over short distances? The hypocrisy wasn't lost on anyone, and soon the fans started calling into question whether Blake was all about seeming environmentally conscious rather than actually committing to going green. Making things worse, Blake's dealings in various high-end fashion brands, most of which have questionable sustainability practices, raised even more eyebrows. Okay, she may don an eco-friendly outfit here and there, but she partners with brands that contribute to fast fashion. That is not exactly walking the talk as far as green values go. The criticism kept piling up, and before long, Blake's eco-friendly image was shattered. The cracks in her carefully curated persona were now fully exposed for the world to see. But just when things couldn't seem to get any worse, another bombshell was about to drop, and it would leave fans questioning everything they thought they knew about Blake Lively. Criticism from fellow celebrities, friends or foes. The celebrity world is pretty much high school on steroids, with friendships forming and breaking at warp speed. Blake Lively for years was considered Hollywood's sweetheart, with many A-list friends by her side. But as her public image has begun to unravel, something strange has happened. Some of her celebrity pals seem to be distancing themselves. It all started with the low-key social media moves, celebrities defriending her, not hitting like or commenting on her posts, and even taking down past photos displaying them and her together from their profiles. The small gestures haven't gone unnoticed by fans, who are quick to connect the dots. Is Blake falling out of favor with Hollywood's elite? It gets even juicier. Rumors are circulating that some actresses, more than a few of whom once shared the screen with Blake, are talking about her behind her back for the very same reasons fans have turned on her. Whether it's her perceived tone deafness or questionable branding, some are reportedly fed up with her. Could this be why she's not landing the same high-profile projects anymore? The rumor mill is churning out stories faster than it ever has. Are these whispers mere rumors? Or is there a growing list of celebrities who now see Blake Lively as a liability? And what about her most famous friendships? How will they survive the scrutiny? Maybe an answer to that is far more explosive than one would have thought, and we're just about to dive right into it. If there's one thing we know about the digital age, it's that social media can make or break a star. And for Blake Lively, it's been a double-edged sword. While her carefully curated Instagram and Twitter posts once charmed fans, the tide has flipped, and those same platforms are leading to her demise. One of those problems has to do with an overly polished Blake social media presence, like a glossy magazine spread. That may have worked for her for years, but today's audience craves authenticity. Between the rise of influencers and celebrities alike who keep it real, think unfiltered moments, struggles, and vulnerabilities, their Blake posts have seemed out of touch. Fans are no longer satisfied with perfect vacation photos and witty captions. They wanted raw, real Blake. And then there's the backlash. Blake's comments section on social media has been blown up with hate, especially after a few of her most recent blunders. The internet doesn't take kindly to mistakes, and for each one she's made, the fans have been sure to let her know in the comments. From questioning her brand of feminism to calling her out for cultural appropriation, social media has become a battleground. But here's the kicker. Blake's response, or rather, lack thereof, has only managed to make things worse. She's been accused of dodging criticism, deleting negative comments, and staying silent on the issues that matter most to her fans. It begs the question, is Blake out of touch, or is she just overwhelmed by the negativity? We are getting closer to the heart of the matter now. Social media might finally be the last nail in the coffin for Blake's once shiny reputation. But before jumping to conclusions, let's take a look at how her team is trying to control the damage. Blake's PR team, the last line of defense. In Hollywood, when things go south, you call in the cavalry, your PR team. And Blake Lively's PR team has been working overtime lately, trying to salvage what's left of her public image. But can even the most skilled professionals spin this situation into something positive? Blake's PR team has tried to steer the narrative back into positive territory with charitable appearances and carefully controlled interviews. Yet no matter how hard they try, it seems the internet is always 2 steps ahead. The attempts at damage control have been met with mixed reactions. Some fans see through the carefully staged moments, labeling them as hollow gestures meant to distract from the real issues. Others are still rooting for her, hoping that Blake will finally address the controversies head-on. But here's the real question. Can a PR team fix something this broken? With every passing day, it seems more like Blake's reputation is slipping further away, and there may be no coming back. Or is there? Some insiders believe Blake's team is planning a major comeback strategy, a career-redefining move that could shift public perception in her favor. But will it work? Or will it be too little, too late? Only time will tell if Blake Lively can pull off one of the greatest redemption arcs in Hollywood history, or if she's destined to fade into the background of canceled stars. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the next move could change everything. As we wrap up this whirlwind of controversies, there's one lingering question on everyone's mind. Is there any coming back for Blake Lively? Can she reclaim the position she once held in Hollywood's spotlight? Or is her fall from grace permanent? Redemption is a tricky thing in the entertainment industry. Some stars have managed to bounce back from far worse scandals, while others have disappeared into obscurity. For Blake, the road ahead is anything but easy. To repair her image, she'll need to show genuine growth and accountability. This isn't a time for curated Instagram posts or polished press releases. Fans want raw, honest, and unfiltered moments. Will Blake come forward and address the controversies surrounding her? Will she use her platform to amplify marginalized voices? Or will she double down on her current approach, hoping the storm will pass on its own? There's no doubt that a redemption story is possible. Hollywood loves a good comeback after all. But for that to happen, Blake will have to make some real changes, not just in how she presents herself, but in how she engages with the issues that her fans care about. The world will be watching closely to see what her next move will be. And in the age of cancel culture, that move will be more important than ever. But if there's one thing we've learned about Blake Lively, it's that she's resilient. She's weathered storms before, and while this might be the most intense one yet, it's not impossible for her to come out the other side stronger than ever. Could Blake surprise us all with a bold move that turns public opinion around? Or has the damage already been done? One thing's for sure, Blake's story is far from over, and whatever happens next is sure to keep us all glued to our screens. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more deep dives and insider scoops. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and your eyes on the screen.